Hello everyone, Tina here from Papertrey Inc. I hope you're having a fantastic day and I'm so glad you're joining me. Today we're going to create a mom card. We're going to be using the Wildflower Fields stamp set. This is a lovely stamp set that has layers, but they're very easy to put together, and I love the long flourishes in here. There's fun sentiments for friends or moms, and I mentioned today we're going to make a mom card. There's a coordinating die set, and we'll be using that to cut out our images along with the My Mom die set. I love this die set. We're going to be using this piece on our project along with the cornered doily die set. There's actually two die sets on my magnetic sheet here. This is the cornered doily. This is really pretty too. This one here is called the Elegant Edges doily, but I'm going to show you a fun way to use this one. We're going to jump in by die cutting our mom out first. We'll die cut out both. I love the backgrounds. If you die cut, this is a positive and a negative die, meaning you can use the letters of a mom, but you can also use the negative piece because there is a beautiful detail, dotted detail. Well, I'll show you when I die cut it out. I wanted to create a real regal colored mom, so we're going to be using this beautiful purple. This is Papertrey Inc.'s Royal Velvet cardstock, and then for my background we're going to use Classic Kraft. I'm going to use the background, cut out that with Classic Kraft, and then using the mom, I'm going to die cut this out with my purple. Now I do want to mention, since this, you can use the positive and the negative of this die, no use in wasting the negative. Line it up in the center of your panel and then run it through, because then later on, if you want another mom card, you'll have that extra piece. I'm going to tape these down. While we're die cutting, I'm also going to take the cornered doily die. Now you can separate them, and I decided just to keep them together. If I put them in a corner, obviously I want to separate them, but they're evenly spaced this way, and I thought I would take advantage of that on my project today. I have a panel. These are two of the same size panels. They're a little less than 2 inches tall by 3 3/4 inches wide. I'm going to line these up, and I want to make sure that this is centered, and then I'll run both of these. I'll do the same with this one. I'll run both of these through my die cut machine. I ran everything through my die cut machine, and before I remove these from the negative part, I want to do a little bit of ink blending on actually both of these. This is what our corner doily looks like. If you want to make a square card and layer them together, look how pretty that is. It's just stunning. I'm going to kind of stretch it so it'll fit on an A2 card. I'm going to put these off to the side, and I mentioned ink blending, so I'm going to bring in my True Black ink. Since this is a very dark colored cardstock, True Black ink is going to really show up, and I wanted a gradient on the bottom of my mom. And I also am going to bring in my Classic Kraft ink, and I'm going to do a little ink blending on the bottom of there. I have some blending brushes I'm going to use. And I'm just going to pick up some of this ink, and I'm going to go right over the negative and kind of fade out. About at the halfway mark is a nice stopping point. And I think that's going to work out great. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to wipe off my craft mat here. So that's what it kind of looks Halloweenish, but I think it's going to work out really well for my project. And once we put it on the craft, it'll take that Halloweenish away. So my mom is done. I'm going to go ahead and punch these out. You can see how pretty that looks. I'm going to put my black ink away, bring in my Kraft ink. And I'm going to do the same thing, making sure that my mom is right side up. We'll pick up some of that Classic Kraft and add a little bit of warmth to our background. And I think that's just the right amount. Now I went ahead and die cut out some foam. That way we can mount this on here and give this a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to use my glue and add it behind my foam first, and then we can place them on our Kraft cardstock. So I have the foam on here. Now I'm going to add glue right over the top. And then we'll go ahead and add our ink blended mom here. When I add these, I'm going to offset them just a little bit so you can see a little bit of that white shadow just to make this stand out. While we have our black ink out and before we put it away, I'm going to take a A2 panel of Royal Velvet cardstock, and I'm just going to ink blend on the bottom and the top here using my black ink again. For the most part, this is going to be covered, but I just love how regal this looks. And that's it. So our background's done. I'm going to go ahead and take this panel and attach this to an A2 card base. Now I'm going to take my cornered pieces and I'm going to place this at the top and the bottom, kind of evenly spacing them. And then I'll put this one at the very top. I'm going to take my mom and we're just going to attach that right to the center. And now we have our sentimented haired. Now I think we need to feminine this up, so we're going to bring in some flowers. And then that is where our Wildflower Fields stamp set comes in. Let's see. Since this is a layering stamp before we start the stamping, I'm going to go ahead and use the coordinating dies of the flowers that I'm going to be using. And we'll die cut this out first on some white cardstock. And then we can perfectly center these. I'm going to run this through my die cut machine and I will be right back. And then I'm going to take the entire panel. I'm going to put it in my stamping positioner. Put these in here. And then we'll take the floral and we'll first stamp our greenery. I love this green twig here. We'll take that. I'm going to take this flower here. And I'm also going to take this branch. We're going to line these up, and then I'll pick them up with the lid of my stamping positioner. To stamp my leaves, I'm going to be using two different greens. I'm using Simply Chartreuse, and I'm also using Ripe Avocado. We'll start by inking up everything with our Simply Chartreuse. And we'll go ahead and stamp this. I'm going to take my darker green, this is Ripe Avocado, and just add a little bit of color to the edges. Wonderful. Probably zoom in a little bit more. And then we'll go ahead and clean off our stamp, and then I'm going to put the flowers. I'm going to ink them up with Lavender Moon. It's a really pretty purple. And we'll go ahead and stamp these. Such pretty colors. And then I'm going to take my darker purple, this is Plum Pudding, and I'm going to add just a little bit of this darker purple over some of these flowers here. We'll darken them up. So pretty. And that's it. Our flowers just look gorgeous. I'm going to go ahead and take our flourishes now. I want to put these right down the middle of our O, and I'll just use a tape runner for this. I know some of these are going to overhang a little bit, but I think we can get this. For bells and whistles, I went ahead and tied a bow using my twine. I doubled up on it. And then I also grabbed a button for my vintage buttons. I'm going to take a glue dot, probably a couple of them. It's a pretty good size button. And I'm going to add that toward the lower part of my O. And then I'll take another glue dot. I'm going to kind of roll it up, put that in the center of the button, and then I'll go ahead and add my twine. Right, I'm kind of doing a faux bow. And then I'm going to trim the tails of my twine here. And then after I have that done, I'm going to bring in my diamond stickles. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glitter to the flowers. For a little extra sparkle. And that will finish off my card today for Papertrey ink. I think this would make a great Mother's Day card. But also an everyday card too. I thank you so much for joining me. I wish you a lovely day, and we will see you again next time. Bye-bye.